Hello everybody, it's that college football guy here with another video. My hair going crazy. I'm here just south of Cleveland, Ohio, just delivered and been picking up another load, but that's not what you saw here. We saw in the video for conference craziness, how many schools can the Big 12 actually afford? Why do I say that? Big 10 brought in Oregon and Washington at a reduced share. Half share. Build their way up to a full share. They took it because they wanted out of the Pac-12, and who can blame them? But then, we keep looking this way, so I'm looking at the red. I got a red light at the dock over here, so once it goes green, I'm going to have to stop recording, which you'll never see, but if it's still going, you'll see me still doing this and checking. But Florida State is pretty much, I'm almost thinking it's a lock to get in the Big Ten, but who's their dance partner? Who's their travel partner? And I've said this before, I've said this on Twitter, on X. Virginia is not the travel partner for Florida State. Oregon, Washington, travel partners. USC, UCLA, travel partners. Florida, Virginia, not travel partners. North Carolina's pretty much said they either stay in the ACC or they're going to go to the SEC, so they're out. Which leaves three options. Three for Florida State's travel partner. This pertains to the Big 12. Georgia Tech, Miami, Clemson. One of those three is going with them. So you could pretty much narrow the search down to those three. If Florida State's not considered an academic option, Georgia Tech and Miami are the two choices. If it's brand names, Clemson goes. But I've talked to people I know and there's nothing going on there. Now, who are the viable candidates? I said, how many can afford to go? Who's going? Big Ten only can afford two. And Florida State and some other schools coming in, they're coming in at a half share, and they'll take it because they know the payday long-term is ridiculous. They'll be happy to take it. I don't know. They said the pro rata kicked in for Oklahoma and Texas. I don't know if the pro rata exists for 17 and 18 for the SEC. And I've already gone into why they're going to be adding schools. They're going to add two. I thought the leaders in the clubhouse were Clemson and North Carolina. Now it looks like it may be North Carolina and Virginia, or it could still be Clemson and North Carolina if Clemson doesn't get in the Big Ten, and they hold off on Virginia or Virginia Tech until 2031 when the Big 12 media deal expires, and they may go grab them in West Virginia. I did a video on that, and I thought West Virginia was a viable candidate to get to the SEC. Still do, because the old guard wants them. But the old guard came out recently and said that they want Virginia and North Carolina. That's who they want. The Big 12, who are they going to get? Folks, I've watched everybody on X on Twitter. I've watched other YouTubers saying that they're going to go over there. And Clemson's going to go to the Big 12. Until the Big 10 and the SEC make up their minds, you're in a holding pattern. And Brett Yormark and the Big 12 know this. They're not fools. They know it's a sit and wait game. But they have to have their ducks in a row. Now, there's been they're loading me right now. You have a forklift bouncing me around. Louisville. Oh, Louisville's going to go to the SEC. No, they got Kentucky. Why would they need Louisville? You need a lesser brand? No, you don't. You got Kentucky. There's not enough recruits in Kentucky to justify getting Louisville. Like getting two schools in California made sense to get that done. Big Ten did that. Two schools in Texas, Texas and Texas A&M, makes sense to do that. Texas A&M bolts to the Big Ten. Would the SEC go back and get another Texas school? Probably. But it all depends on who's available. Like if Texas A&M leaves and say 2031 and they need three schools, would they go grab a Texas school? Yeah. Probably TCU or Texas Tech. And based upon value, we'll see which one gets it. But two state schools in the state of Texas, yes. Two schools in the state of Florida makes sense, but they may not do that. They may not even do two schools in the state of Texas. They lose A&M, they may not pick them up. All of this, the Big 12's ideas are on a holding pattern. But I can tell you two schools that are on the plank, on the Big 12's radar, that the SEC doesn't want and the Big 10 doesn't want, and fit in the geographic eastern footprint for the Big 12. And that's Louisville and NC State. NC State's not going to go with North Carolina. They try to package them together. It's not working. They may have to pay alimony. North Carolina at this point doesn't care. They want out. They're just being smart about it. Like the whole fact of the matter is of that Florida, North Carolina doing preliminary for a lawsuit and they haven't done anything yet. I'm going to float some idea by you. I know it's about the Big 12, but this pertains to the Big 12. Florida State, Clemson filed their lawsuits, and North Carolina's not moving one muscle until after the lawsuits are done. Cal, Stanford, and SMU be full members by then, so you won't have enough votes to dissolve the conference. So that's off the table. If it's a high dollar amount, how many schools are going to afford to pay for it? Maybe North Carolina. Here's the problem. And here's a question. Allergies still bother me. Apologies. Probably doing that a couple more times, so I'm apologizing ahead of time. ESPN wants to extend the grant rights but reorganize the deal because two schools left and they have the right to do that. When they do that, I think North Carolina is waiting for that moment. For one reason. One, to find out what ESPN is going to do. And two, if ESPN files the agreement and files to do this, does this break the grant of rights? Because if FSU and Clemson can't find a way out, this would be the other way to do it. And that may be why North Carolina's waiting. They reorganized the deal. Well, the problem is the deal has to be intact for this many dollars. You want to renegotiate for less because you said that the deal is done. The deal's dissolved and it's tied to an ESPN deal. Is it an ESPN deal at the same dollar amount? See, we don't know that. But it was guaranteed 2036 will be extended at this rate. That was the promise, remember? If it's less than that, you wouldn't sign an extension. Does that void the grant of rights? All of this stuff ties in together, folks. All of it. All of it. Who the Big 12 gets depends on who the SEC doesn't get. They're talking about Florida State and Clemson, the Big 10. Let's just say that happens. SEC will grab their two whenever North Carolina makes their move. But whatever goes on. But this whole thing with the ACC is going to happen between now and 2031. Or now and 2027, really. Or it could be 2031. Who knows? Or 2032. Because they signed a 5-year extension for the deal. Who knows? I don't know what the ESPN's got up their sleeve here. Then there's the thought that came out with some people who said ESPN's just going to cut ties. They're not that stupid. They're going to cut ties. They're going to have them dissolve the conference and all the schools are going to go to the American. Shut up. Seriously. How many times you get hit in the head with a rock? No. The American does not have the brand value of the ACC, and ESPN knows it. They're not stupid. They're looking for brand value. The American has none. Just like the Mountain West doesn't have the brand value of the Pac-12. And if that merger happens, it will be under the Pac-12's name, not the Mountain West's. For financial reasons and for brand value reasons. And everybody in the Mountain West, if it's a whole conference, they're cool with it. But again, the Big 12 is waiting on schools. They're going to have to wait to see what the SEC and the Big 10 do. But there's two schools they could get. Louisville and NC State. NC State's not going to North Carolina. The SEC doesn't want Louisville. I don't care what idiot says. You got Kentucky. You don't need Louisville. There's not enough recruits in the state to justify it. You've got Louisville. Now, you have Kentucky. You don't need Louisville. Louisville and NC State both established. The other two spots, but I think they're only going to get 4 schools. Why? Not enough money. Think about it. Okay, just think about it. You're looking at schools who are doing this. Okay. Oregon and Washington went to the Big 10 on a half share. And they were smart to do it. They want to get out of the Pac-12. SEC schools coming in, they may be a full share, they may not be. Disney's claiming property. Big 10 paying half share. Probably pay half share for the two coming in. You think they're going to pay full freight to 6 schools leaving the ACC for the Big 12? Oh, they'll come in at a half share. Really? You would come in for $20 million a year? When you can make more than that in the ACC? Yeah, the money would be good, but the problem is, yeah, but we're talking about now, not 2037. I see a maximum of 8 schools leaving the ACC, 4 to the Big 12. Because the number for scheduling for football, the number for basketball and the other sports, 20 is pretty much the safe cap. 2022, it's a little uncertain. Past that, it's ridiculous. You have no shot. The Olympic sports are ruined for scheduling purposes. Football, 20 is the big number, last big magical number. That works where you still have non-cons and it's not ridiculous. What do I mean by that? A 20-team football conference is you and 19 opponents. We're not worried about ourselves. We're worried about those 19 teams we play. 4 guaranteed rivals a year. 4 protected rivals. Cuts that number of 19 to 15. 5, 5, 5. 9-game conference schedule. You play everybody every 3 years. Everybody comes to your stadium every 6. It works for football. There's basketball scheduling that works as well for the other Olympic sports. You can do divisions for basketball to keep them for football. You don't have to. And for the Western schools on the western side of the country, it makes it easy for them. Because, let's say Utah coming in. I'm going to do something about Utah in the recap video in the end of the week because I'm not going to dignify that thing right now. But, or BYU. Let's say BYU then. BYU's 4 protected rivals, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State. The 5 Western schools play each other 4 of their 9 games every year. That cuts down on travel costs for everybody else. Now, if you have a lower quadrant, do you put those schools together? If Pitt comes in with Virginia Tech, Pitt, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, Cincinnati, do you put that group together? If you have UCF with a Miami, with a Georgia Tech, with a Clemson, you keep that group together. And NC State with it. Start getting it here. 20 is the magic number. It works for everything. It works the best number for this. And it works for the other sports. That's pretty much the cap. These 24 teams, and we're going to do a Super League. I've done the thing about the Super League. Just grow up. Now with Congress doing antitrust, they're not going to do an antitrust exemption for the Super League and the NCAA because the other NCAA schools would still be under risk. They'll do it for them. You want to do a semi-pro league, you're on your own. The only way you're going to be able to get congressionally protected is it's all under the NCAA umbrella. Or whatever organization ends up being. They all have to be together. Could they be a new subdivision above everybody else? Yes. I figure that's what's going to happen. I've already gone into this. Check the other videos about FAS. I figure it's going to be the new Alpha subdivision, the autonomous subdivision, the Big Ten, the SEC, and everybody else who does high-end revenue sharing. That's where they're going to go. And there'll be tiers of revenue sharing. FAS, FBS, FCS, so that way schools don't go bankrupt. With a minimum floor you have to spend on each one. That'll be set up as well. But like I said, the Big 12, they're in a holding pattern. But I still think 4 schools is all they can afford. They said, I've heard everybody saying it's Louisville, NC State, Pitt, Virginia Tech. Really? Louisville, NC State, you take them. Would you trade Pitt and Virginia Tech for Clemson and Miami? In a heartbeat. Pitt and Virginia Tech are options 4 and 3 or 3 and 4, however you want to put it. Louisville and NC State are the top 2 because they make the most sense. They have more value. And they're going to be available. It's the other 2 spots that are open based upon who's left. And have I heard anything about Louisville and NC State being contacted? Nothing about NC State, but Louisville? All I can say is rumor and innuendo. Scuttlebutt, rumors. Y'all know I talked to some boosters and other people, and they said that some of their friends who are boosters of various Big 12 schools were attending Louisville basketball games and talking to other donors of Louisville. Back channel communications, that's how it starts, folks. The back channel. That's how everything goes here. Back channel communications between donors. That's how you grease the palms, get things going without any official involvement. That's how all of this has been going on for a long, long time. So the Big 12, I think they're going after Louisville and NC State. The other two, as I said, they're the open spots. Everybody's saying Virginia Tech and Pitt. But if Miami becomes available, Pitt or Virginia Tech, one of those two is gone. Clemson and Miami are available. Both of them are gone. Because you're not giving up Louisville. They're good in football and basketball. They have too big of a brand name. NC State getting into North Carolina is too big of a brand name. Pitt is good in football on occasion. Good in basketball on occasion. Virginia Tech, same thing. Louisville's good has a great basketball tradition. We know this. And they've been good in football, especially great recruiting. Can you imagine how interesting Big 12 football would have been if Louisville would have been in the Big 12 in 2015, 2016, 17 with Lamar Jackson as the quarterback traveling to Texas? Louisville can recruit top-tier talent and get guys in from the transfer portal. They're going to be fun to watch. NC State routinely has been the best football team more times than not in the state of North Carolina, beating up Big Brother North Carolina. North Carolina has the name. North Carolina has the marquee. Michael Jordan had a lot to do with it. But the football power resides in NC State. That's going to piss some people off, but it's true. So with NC State having that spot, they'd be the two. The other two spots are open. I don't see more than 4. At least short term, I just don't see it because the fact is, who's paying for it? They would not bring in Gonzaga at an $800,000 loss per school to bring Gonzaga in because they said flat out they will not bring anybody else in because if they don't raise value or keep it the same, they're not taking a pay cut for anybody. They're as low as they're willing to go. They're not taking a pay cut. And I got news for you. Boston College, you wouldn't get in without a pay cut. You're not bringing in the money. Syracuse is one of the ones nobody's talking about. Syracuse has... Okay, that is the one. I wish I had a second camera right now. I really do, and I can't turn this thing... Are you trying to say something? Why am I saying that? I talked about Louisville. A cardinal just landed on my mirror right out here and just sat here, looked at me, and flew off. Somebody trying to say something? Trippy. All right. Wow. 4 schools, folks. 4. I don't see the money for more than 4. If ESPN's claiming poverty, they're going to want to pay for 4 SEC half shares, which is a Big 12 full share, and that's maximum. They may even not want to do 4 full shares of the Big 12. They may want to do 2 fulls and 2 halves to get in. Because the fact is, the one point that everybody's missing, all the AC schools says, we're worth a lot more than what you are. I'll say something. You are. But that doesn't matter. What is ESPN, Fox, CBS, NBC, and everybody else involved, what are they willing to pay you? Because that's the only number that matters. And if they're only willing to pay you $20 million a year, you're worth $20 million a year. That's it. So how many do I think they're going to afford to get and bring in? 4. I think it's all they're going to get. 20 is the magic number. Scheduling-wise, everything makes sense. It was 22. You're talking 21 schools. You could do a 9-game conference schedule with that. You have 3 protected rivals. Instead of being 5 3 times, it's 6 3 times. That's how you do 21 for 22 schools. 24 is when you start doing 8-game schedules over 4 years. And basketball in the Olympic sports is just, you don't even get to play everybody twice a year. Or not even, sometimes you may not even play everybody once a year. And that hurts for the tournament. You need to play everybody at least once. They're going to ham to town on my truck, so. All right, let's just get into this. Tell me what you think about all of this, and let me know at the end. Let me know here. So, thanks everybody for watching the video. If you haven't done already, please do me the favor. Smash the like button. Hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Helps the video be seen by more people. Comment on the video. How many schools do you think ESPN's going to afford and Fox going to afford to put in the Big 12? I'm saying 4 because they're pleading poverty. And who do you think they're going to be? Louisville and NC State, I figure, are my 2 locks to get in. Everybody else depends upon who the Big 10 and the SEC take. Let me know about that in the comments. If you have an idea for another video idea, put it in the comments. If I like it, I will put in a video out and I will shout you out in it. Share the video if you want to, and if you haven't done it already, do me a favor. Check out some of the videos I've done, and if you like it, hey, subscribe to the channel. Trying to get on the way to 1,000 videos, folks. I get shaken to death, and I think a funny feeling here based upon they just pounded the floor. I might be done soon. So thanks, everybody, for watching. If you want to follow me on X, I'm doing better things on there thanks to Scotty B. the Balating and Coos' Corner. Coos shouting out, reminding me for getting more on there. So I'll be more active on it. The link for that will be in the description. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Be safe out there, and please be good to each other.